Hello, welcome to VAD Inspires. And listen, have you been ever in a situation where you were anxious or experienced anxiety or fear or irrational thoughts in your head that you tend acting upon, and then you know that it is irrational, but you can't help but act upon it? So we're gonna discuss anxiety in a way that is a little bit more scientific. Don't worry, I won't bore you with other psychological terms. Actually, the scientific terms of the brain, the hypothalamus, and all that. Trust me, I'm not interested in those terms either. But some of them are important in understanding anxiety. And the things that I'm going to share with you in this video, this strictly personal part 12, is what I have learned from a book called Rewire Your Anxious Brain. I've forgotten the authors. Rewire Your Anxious Brain. I'm going to link the book in the description. You can get the free PDF online, but of course, if you want the physical copy, you can go to Amazon or eBay. And I think that book is very important and part of the reason why I decided to do a series on it. So these are the things that I understood from the book, and for the maybe the next part of the strictly personal series, we'll be talking about this book a lot more in terms of how to use it to rewire your brain for anxiety. But of course, it impacted on me a new understanding of anxiety that I want to share with you. First is discerning anxiety from fear, right? So, anxiety is different from fear. Fear is an identifiable immediate threat. Okay? So, for example, you're heading down the road, a truck is bearing down right in front of you for a face to face collision. That's fear. Now you can maneuver, get out of the way, do something, but that situation is fear. Anxiety is much more of a thought process and sense of dread, a sense of discomfort we feel that something bad is going to happen, but not immediately, but in the near future. So these are two different things, anxiety and fear. And then furthermore, with anxiety goes through two pathways in our brain. First is the cortex, the cortex-based anxiety, which is irrational, illogical thoughts. I'm not enough. I don't think I can do this. I don't have enough experience. I don't have enough love. I don't have enough connection. I don't have enough growth. I don't have enough tools to overcome a certain situation. And I'm sure we've all felt this at one point or another. And then we start to anticipate the bad thing that is going to happen because we are not capable of preventing it. We create this whole scenario in our brain. Many of us are very good at catastrophizing events that we start to physically feel an event we have conjured up in our head, something that might or might not happen. But that's the cortex-based anxiety. And another anxiety is the amygdala-based anxiety. This anxiety is based on emotional triggers, right? An example would be, have you had someone ever throw a stuffed animal at you or something that is scary, like a black cloth or a black animal or a black spider, and you immediately react in fear, in immediate fear. You interpret it like, oh, what's going on? And then a second or two later, you realize, oh, it's a fake snake, it's a fake spider, it's a fake animal. That's your amygdala. Your amygdala reacts instantly. It's the classic fight or flight response that triggers your sympathetic nervous system to act to protect you from an immediate danger. It translates something from a thought to immediate fear. So that's why people sometimes that are afraid of public speaking, it has more to do with their amygdala sometimes because they have created an emotional memory somewhere. And because of that, your emotional trigger crops up anytime you are asked to present in front of a crowd, anytime you're asked to do a public presentation. But that's the difference between a cortex-based anxiety and amygdala-based anxiety. But the key thing here to remember is that why the cortex conjures up the images, conjures up the illogical thought, conjures up the irrational thoughts, the amygdala triggers responses. But here's also the kicker here. The amygdala is very important when it comes to anxiety because the amygdala can save emotional memory as well as trigger anxiety. The cortex can only record illogical, irrational thoughts. So the amygdala is very important, but of course, it is trained. It is trained through experiences, and the life experiences we have create emotional memories. And remember, these emotional memories, they're not logical. They don't have to be logical. It could be that, maybe as you are about to get ready to leave for work, one day you hear a massive thunder that stopped you in your track. Because of that emotional connection with you going to work and that thunder, it creates a fear. Now, normally thunders are scary, but when you realize that, they happen all the time and they're not necessarily catastrophic events, it's just a reaction from nature. But normal, neutral responses can be turned into fear and anxious provoking stimulus. Think about classical conditioning. Ivan Pavlov and his dogs. That's a classical conditioning that is created and maintained in the amygdala. So our thoughts and perception processed by our cortex, the large gray area in your brain, and then the amygdala right behind the ear. It's like an almond-shaped um, body part right behind the ears and your brain. That's the way the process. That's the area that processes the emotional response to either immediate danger, which is the fear we discussed earlier, or the anxiety-provoking thoughts that your cortex processes triggers the amygdala. In the next video, we will continue along on this vein of exploration in terms of understanding more about anxiety and fear and illogical thoughts and the connection and how to rewire our brain to respond in a different way. But for now, thank you for watching. Be great and follow for more to stay inspired.